Hi, I've been getting a lot of questions on the website about cello technique and cello playing prompted by the cello videos, so I thought I would use one cello video to answer a bunch of them. First question. I am going to purchase a new cello case and was wondering if you had any preferences as to a certain model or material. Well, I do, and it's right here. It's a case made by a company called Accord, A-C-C-O-R-D. It's a carbon fiber case. It's very light. The lightest ones now are 4.9 pounds. They have distributors in the US. They're quite expensive, but they're worth it. They're incredibly strong. They're incredibly small. Sometimes this thing even fits in the overhead compartment of an airplane, although I always purchase a seat for the cello. They are very, very, very durable. They last a long time. I recommend them highly. And the website is accordcase.com. They're made in Croatia. And by the way, most well-traveled professional cellists I know use these cases now. Can you do a set on thumb position and on practicing perfect intonation? The answer is yes. I will be exploring the thumb position more thoroughly in the coming videos, so stay tuned. Would it be possible to post or otherwise disseminate recommendations for what to practice as a beginner, i.e. which etudes, which scales, etc., to get the most benefit from one's time? Well, getting the most benefit from one's time is one of the whole points of this series of cello videos. I have to confess that I have not taught a beginning cellist since I was probably about 15 years old. I'm not really quite up to speed on how best to do it. I think the early videos in this series are helpful in terms of sitting. I think the ones we've been doing on intonation and the position work are very, very useful. But if you really want to look for a comprehensive method for cello playing or for string playing on the internet or somewhere else, I would look at Kurt Sussman's House Violin Masterclass series, which is very well organized, very well put together. And the answer is yes, someday maybe I'll consider doing a real course, step-by-step course on cello playing, which this is not, and I appreciate that question very much. Even I can't quite answer it. I was wondering if in your cello video talks you could address how to use the Aldo Pais method. There is so much in this book, I never know where to start. Thank you. Well, that's also a great question. This book was brought to my attention by one of my earliest teachers, and it's quite amazing. It's very, very complete. This is one that was bound for me as a present by a student. But it is an amazing book because it covers literally everything one can do with the left hand on the cello, from the low positions to the high positions to harmonics to all the different intervals. And here's what I would suggest. I didn't do this yet myself, but I think it's a good idea. If you get these kind of little tabs, not necessarily on these things, but you can get them where they clip on and they attach. And you can take the chapters of the book and delineate them with these things. For example, you would have here maybe upper position thirds, and over here you would have octaves or whatever, so that when you picked up your book, you could see from the tabs on the side where you might like to go on a particular day. The other thing that you could do is to use these. If you have these little post-its, if you have a particular section or technique that you like to practice for a sequence of days, just take the book and put that right there so that you can go there, maybe make a little notation as to what it is. I'm of the belief that if you do even 1 minute of kind of everything every day, that it builds up. So I would say do a little bit of lower position intervals, thirds, sixths, octaves, do some hand stretching, do some upper position stretching, intervals, shifting exercises, a little bit of everything. If you only have 15 minutes, do 15 different things, 1 minute each. That's how I would use this book. And if you really are in trouble with, say, an octave passage or something, then you allocate a lot more time to that particular chapter. But it's a great, great book. By the way, it's the Aldo Pais, P-A-I-S, Technique of the Cello, and it's published by Recording. Next. I have been interested lately in the function of the left hand and arm, and I'm hoping you might cover your thoughts about this in one of your lessons. I rarely hear people talk about how exactly to apply the force needed to put the string down to make a pitch. Also to move the fingers, push, pull, balance, from the back, shoulder, forearm, base joints, also the origin of the vibrato motion. This is a big subject, and I think what I'll do is postpone talking about this, and I'll do a whole video on finger pressure and finger action. And lastly, could you give us a lesson on the best way to sit and hold a cello? Sit all the way back on a seat and have your back straight, or sit on the edge of a chair and have your body lean forward towards the cello? Now, this is a very good question. It has to do a lot with how you're comfortable. I play so much, I play so many hours, I have to do what's comfortable for me. So my preferred kind of chair is the one that I'm sitting on now, that has a low back, that supports me in the back, and I tend to sit back in the chair with my lower back against this thing for support. And in this way, I'm absolutely the most comfortable. I have never, for some reason, been comfortable sitting on the edge of a chair, which I know is the way many cellists do, which is the preferred and taught way, but somehow I feel I need the support in the back. However, I can't sit on the following kind of chair and have my back supported like this, because when the chair has a high back like this, I'm prevented, if I'm at the back of the chair, I'm prevented from swiveling around. I don't have to go over the back of the chair. It's very uncomfortable. And of course, the chair with the low back allows me to swivel and feel flexible and still have support on my lower back. I can go all the way either side like this. So I'm still mobile, but I have the support on the back. In the end, you have to be comfortable. You have to do what's right for your body. I think far more important for me is the height of the end pin, the angle of the cello, the alignment of the cello, and those are in videos 4 and 5. So once again, thank you for your questions. When I get another bunch, I'll do another one of these, and I hope this has been helpful.